Could Arctic Monkeys be about to drop their 7th studio album? Stay tuned to find out. It's been almost 4 years since the band released 2018's Tranquility-based Hotel and Casino, and we've barely heard a peep from the band since that campaign. But as of late, there have been a few interesting leaks and rumours swirling online, suggesting that the band's return could be just around the corner. Now, if you follow the Arctic Monkeys, you'll know that they don't exactly do much in the way of press coverage or social media, especially between album releases. 2018's Tranquility-based Hotel and Casino saw absolutely nothing in the way of social media hype or press build-up. The band didn't even release a single beforehand, they just dropped the album out of the blue without any prior warning, which goes totally against the grain, but at the same time was so refreshing in the days where artists just seem to be fighting for so much attention online that they end up bombarding us with content. But a few eager-eyed fans have been keeping an eye out online over the past year for any clues as to what this album's going to sound like and when it will drop. But just before we get into those, to understand exactly what could be happening, I wanted to let you know that I'll be covering absolutely everything Arctic Monkeys in the lead up to this next album launch. So if you haven't done already, please subscribe to the channel so you stay updated. So this is actually the second time I'm filming this video, still relatively new to this YouTube stuff, and long story short, I forgot to put myself in focus, so I was a fuzzy mess, basically, in the first video. So hopefully this one will go a little bit better. Back to the Arctic Monkeys. So it was well publicised in lockdown in 2019 that the band had pressed pause on working on any new material together because of the logistical challenges, and this was due to the logistical challenges with meeting up, given that they all lived in different locations. Rather than making an album on Zoom, like Taylor Swift did, I think the band just wanted to do it the old-fashioned way. Who can blame them? But then in August of 2021, when things in the UK weren't too bad actually as far as the pandemic was concerned, a certain little-known manor house on the coast in Suffolk, England, accidentally leaked something about the band on their website. This manor house, called Priory, is somewhat of an architectural gem, and I think it was actually a monastery in the 13th century. Now it turns out that the band reportedly spent a month there tracking for their new album. The post actually reads, "We've had a band stay with us for the last month recording an album. Musicians love the acoustics in the great hall and drawing room with their huge vaulted ceilings. Being serenaded whilst watering and weeding the garden, listening to the double bass, drums and piano wafting out of the open double doors was pretty nice. Thank you, Arctic Monkeys." Now I don't think Butley Priory got the memo that this wasn't supposed to be publicised and the Arctic Monkeys were actually recording in secret. And the post, as you can imagine, was very quickly taken down. And although Butley Priory declined to comment on any reports after the story began circulating online, we didn't have to go that far to validate the story. You only had to go to the Instagram account of the head chef that was working there at the time. As you can see, the photo shows all 4 members of the band with the head chef all smiles after what looks like a very satisfying meal indeed. A feast for the mouth, as well as the ears, you might say. So the band were definitely there to record some music and eat some nice food. Interesting side note on this though, the post mentions a double bass, which I don't think we've heard on an Arctic Monkeys record before, so naturally I'm quite interested to see where they're going to take their sound next, but more on that coming in a future video. Now there were also rumours that Arctic Monkeys had ventured back to La Frette Studios in France, which is where they recorded Tranquility-based Hotel and Casino. Now I'm not sure if this is speculation online or if someone's actually seen the band in the studio, but there's a Reddit thread that shows Alex Turner's girlfriend, Louise Vernelle, sat at a piano that belongs to the studio. And this was obviously posted at a much later date than the actual Tranquility-based sessions. Why could this be a clue? Well, Arctic Monkeys often record in multiple locations when making an album. For example, when Arctic Monkeys made AM, almost a decade ago, Jesus, how's it been that long? They actually rented a studio in LA called Sage and Sound for 6 months where they did the bulk of their writing and some of the tracking. This was then followed up with tracking sessions at Josh Homme's studio in Joshua Tree, California, Rancho de la Luna, and that's also where they did the Humbug album. After that, the band then visited Vox Studios in London because that particular studio had vintage drum machines that the band were keen to use. I think they were like vintage Thomas Bandmaster and Selmer drum machines, basically some really cool kit. And it's that Selmer drum machine that can be heard on the song I Wanna Be Yours. Fun fact, that tune actually uses a preset from that drum machine called Liverpool, and that was used in combination with the vintage Fairchild Spring Reverb, which together sounds so nostalgic and dreamy to me. So my guess is that they probably went back to La Frette Studios because they had so much fun there recording Tranquility bass using the vintage synthesizers and equipment that was in that studio. And if I was a betting man, I'd probably bet on these vintage synthesizers making another appearance on this new album. Now, there have been quite a few under-the-radar announcements from the band as well. Drummer and self-proclaimed Agile Beast himself, Matthew Helders, has been quoted in the NME saying that the album is pretty much finished. And if you follow him on Instagram, you'll probably have realised that over the past year, although he currently resides in the US, he's been making quite a few trips to Europe, likely to meet up with the band and finish the new record. But as per usual, he hasn't given much in the way of specifics. And so the release remains very much shrouded in mystery. And just to add more fire to the rumour mill, Arctic Monkeys have also been quietly announcing a string of headline shows across Europe for this summer. As per usual, they're headlining Europe's biggest festivals in 2022. And this includes Reading and Leeds in England, Rock NCN in Paris, and Siget Festival in Budapest, just to name a few. And considering that their first tour date is the 9th of August, which is, well, we're in March now, so literally 5 months away, it seems to me like an album release is pretty much imminent. So I hope that this brief update has gotten you suitably hyped for AM7. Please do let me know in the comments below if there's anything I've missed, or if there's anything else that you've heard or seen about this rumoured next album, and more importantly, what you think it will sound like. Do you think it will be a complete departure in sound, like we saw in 2018, or do you think it will be more of a continuation of this Tranquility-based sound? Thank you ever so much for watching, and please make sure that you hit that subscribe button for more Arctic Monkeys coverage in the lead up to this album release. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.